Hey everyone, just me here today. No Jason Williams. He and his wife are expecting a little baby, a future giant, if you will. So I'm on my own. I'm flying solo. I know I've never done this before, but you know we'll get through it. For one thing, Dub sent me all of his stock picks and explanations for them, so I have all the answers to the test there. We're good to go. I also have special help from one of our top analysts here at Angel Publishing. He's been retired for a long time. He agreed to come out of retirement just to help me with today's top 10. He is the money monkey, the profit primate, Mr. Buff the Billionaire. All right, so now as you know, we're going to do the first 4 stocks here. It's going to be free on YouTube. Everyone can access it. After that, we're cutting the final 6 off, holding them back for the Wealth Advisory subscribers. If you want to sign up, click the link below. I highly suggest that you do so. We typically crush it. You can usually pay for the subscription with the profits we deliver. So don't hesitate to check that out and get on board if you want the full 10 stock picks. Now, typically at this point, Dubs would give a whole rundown of the market action last week and the top 10. I'm not going to do that, folks. All right? We're just jumping right in. Today's stocks, they're too good. They can't wait. No more monkey business, no more fooling around. We're going to get right into it, and we're going to start with this first pick. This one does come from Jason Williams. He loves this stock. So do I. It's Innovative Industrial Properties. IIPR. You know this company. It's a REIT, a real estate investment trust, that deals with cannabis retail, stores, stuff like that, growing operations. Now, it nosedived pretty hard to start the month. After the election, I think there was a lot of bullish sentiment, idea that the Trump administration is going to loosen up policy on marijuana and cannabis, and that's going to make it easier to access funding and lending, and that it might cut out a company like Innovative Industrial Properties. However, we don't think that's going to be the case. You can just look around kind of anecdotally. Obviously, retail is legal, and yet, retail rates still perform well. Commercial rates, defense rates, all these things have been legal for a long time. They don't have the same barriers, legal bureaucratic barriers that the marijuana industry has had. And yet they have thrived. So we don't really see this as a downside for Innovative Industrial Properties. If anything, we actually think it's going to be bullish. It's going to get more people into the business, more people into the cannabis business, and they're going to want a steady hand, people with experience, a company that's been there before and that can help them get their businesses off the ground, and that's going to be Innovative Industrial Properties. So we've got that here at the number 10 pick overall. That one does come courtesy of Dubs. Next up, we've got an old J-Money special here. There we go. No problems here. This is going perfectly smoothly. All right, so the old J-Money special coming up. You're going to be familiar with this one. It's a favorite of mine. This is Northrop Grumman. This is NOC. Talked about this company before. One of the world's biggest defense contractors. Like many defense contractors, it's had a huge year with all that's going on in the world. Quarterly earnings just came out. They were great, fantastic. Earnings of $7 per share, up from $6.18 a year ago. Beat analyst estimates of $6.07. Net earnings were up 9%, over $1 billion there. Total operating income up 10%. 1.12 billion. Total sales hit almost $10 billion, up more than 2% from $9.25 billion last year. Record backlog of $85 billion. You're seeing that a lot with defense contractors. A lot of record backlogs building up, future work coming down the line. So you know this money isn't just here now, it's going to keep coming in the future. It raised its full year guidance by 75 cents, which is a per share. That's a big increase when you're talking about 75 cents per share on an earnings forecast. And again, what I love about Northrop Grumman, they're always working on big projects. We've talked about things like the Glide Phase Interceptor, which picks off incoming hypersonic missiles in low Earth orbit. We've talked about things like the replacement of the Minuteman with the Sentinel missile, the ICBMs that America keeps in its underground silos, the ground-based mid-course defense system that we rely on for defense against incoming nuclear attacks. And then most recently, they just signed a huge deal with the government, their space unit. They're going to produce satellite repair units that they can launch into space that have robotic arms and can repair satellites mid-orbit. So that's a huge step. It's going to really help maintain the growing satellite fleets that we're seeing launched, the constellations that are going up, all those types of things, all those satellites that are sitting out there. They're going to be able to fix those in space, as opposed to just having dilapidated satellites, broken down satellites, space junk effectively orbiting the Earth. Those are the kinds of things that Northrop Grumman works on and excel at, and increasingly, that's what the government is going to them for. Huge projects, and that's why you see them, kicking up that backlog by billions of dollars and increasing the revenue and raising their forecast because they're signing big ticket contracts. All right, there's that one. Next up, this is another good one from Dubs. We've talked about this a fair bit. This is Centrus Energy, LEU. We know Centrus as really the only producer of high-assay, low-enriched uranium in the United States. It's one of the few uranium producers that our country can count on, and that's extremely important right now because we've been working towards banning Russian imports, and Russia has placed retaliatory restrictions on exports to the United States in return. So this battle over uranium has been brewing for a while, and this is one of the few companies that can really dig us out of it. So just as Dubs predicted, uranium prices had shot up quite a bit. Along with them, this stock, it peaked about $120 last month, but Dubs did call the pullback. He knew it was getting a little hot, a little frothy, and so it took a huge shot to its value over the past month, dropped down to 70. We like this entry point. This is kind of where you want to get in on a stock like this. It makes it more attractive right now than it was a month ago at 120. You could think about it like you're getting a nice Christmas discount on this stock. And we're still very bullish on the company and uranium in the long run. So it's a good time to get positioned on Centrus. What do you think of that, Buff? He says the stock's going to go bananas, folks. All right. Next up. This is mine. We've got number mine. We are now on pick number 4. So this is going to be the last freebie we give away, folks. So make sure you write it down. We got Viper Energy. Viper Energy. Venom. Classic. All right, so this stock rose 10% in the past month or so, despite its revenue declining and its income declining, and oil prices falling below $70 per barrel. You might think an oil energy resource company like Viper would take a hit from that. It's up 10%. Why? Because it beat earnings by 29%. Its revenue is forecast to grow 12% on average over the next 3 years. That compares with 2.9%, about 3% for the overall U.S. oil and gas energy. So this company is growing faster, 4 times faster. It expects four times the growth of your average U.S. oil and gas company over the next 3 years. So there's a lot of growth to be had here. And like I said, you get a company like this that can really rise even as oil prices are falling. And you can imagine what it's going to do when they come back up. And I think there are a lot of reasons to stay bullish about oil going forward. Despite it being down right now, we could see more OPEC cuts in the future. I think we got a fossil fuel friendly administration coming in with the election of Donald Trump. And then, I know people don't like the supply and demand imbalance, but it really doesn't take much for that to switch around in a hurry. And if you think we're going to see some growth, certainly in the United States in the next year or two, maybe a bit of a global rebound and see that demand start to come back up, then things are going to turn around very, very quickly for the oil market. And that means they're going to go very, very well for Viper, which, as I said, is already expecting, a higher magnitude of growth than most other U.S. energy companies. So, all right. So now to recap, we've got innovative industrial properties, the cannabis rate that we think is going to really excel no matter what happens with cannabis legislation going forward. We think this company, it's already done a lot of great work. It has a high return, a high yield. And so we think, regardless of what happens, it's going to continue to do well. It's a good time to buy the dip. And I think that's going to be a trend in a few of these. Northrop Grumman, I think defense contractors even also took a bit of a spill post-election with people thinking that Donald Trump's going to come in and settle a lot of these global conflicts. I can assure you that will not be the case. We have conflicts in Eastern Europe. We have conflicts in the Middle East, and we have conflicts in the Pacific, and they are not going anywhere. Even if the war in Ukraine somehow gets settled, and in short order, Europe is still going to be terrified of Russia. Russia's not going to stop trying to retake former Soviet satellite states. Even if it gets a portion of Ukraine, it won't be satisfied until it gets the whole thing. So, none of this global conflict is going to fade overnight. Defense contractors like Northrop Grumman are going to continue to benefit from it. And then on the upside of that as well, you have a lot of demand for space projects and large defense projects in the U.S. budget. And you're going to continue to see that with Northrop Grumman. Next up, Centrus Energy. Same thing, uranium. We'll talk about this later, a little more foreshadowing for you. Uranium went up early in the year, took a bit of a slide, took Centrus down with it. But I think there's good reason to be bullish about uranium going forward. Again, we'll talk more about this in the back half, but Centrus is at a really attractive level right now for a company that almost has a monopoly on high-assay, low-enriched uranium. And that's definitely, that was a big winner for us last year, and it's probably going to be a big winner for us next year and certainly in the next month. And then to round it all out, we've got Viper Energy, another buy low pick, because oil prices are down, things aren't looking so great, but you've got, again, a administration coming in that is friendly to American production of resources and resource development, like uranium, like oil. You're going to get some growth here, I think, and a company like Viper Energy can do it no matter what. They've got the growth baked in. Like I said, 12% compared to 4% for the industry growth over the next 3 years. So if you're going to get in a stock and you're looking for those returns in the energy sector, there's no better place to look than Viper right now. And so that's going to wrap us up for the top 4. And I'm going to see you on the other side with my friend Buff in tow. And we're going to close out with the top 6 stocks for the month of December. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe below and sign up for the Wealth Advisory through the link. You will not regret it.